Everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 6-game slate here on DraftKings. I'm only going to be doing DraftKings today. I'll get back to FanDuel tomorrow. We have a pretty significant injury report. We got a couple, big-time players out. We got a lot of questionable options as well, so this is going to have to, you're going to have to pay attention to that injury report today. With that said, we have some good games here. Boston over Charlotte, Indiana over Memphis, Toronto over Atlanta, Cleveland over Minnesota, Philadelphia over Utah, and then Dallas over Portland. So we have a pretty interesting slate. With that said, let's get into the slate itself. Let's get to the injury report first. For the Grizzlies, Brooks and Clark are both questionable, and Conchar is out. For the Pacers, Halliburton is out, and Nesmith is questionable, and Turner is doubtful. For the Celtics, Brown is out, and Brogdon is questionable. For the Hornets, Oubre Jr. is out, and Hayward is doubtful. For the Hawks, Capella is out. For the Timberwolves, Towns is out. For the 76ers, Harris is questionable. For the Jazz, Sexton is doubtful. Olenek is out, and Conley is probable. For the Mavs, Wood is questionable. DFS is out, and Cleaver is out. For the Trailblazers, Lillard is questionable, and Winslow is out. So we have some interesting injuries here today. One thing I'm going to quickly note here about this slate is that the Indiana Pacers, with Halliburton out and Turner, doubtful, it does look like the pricing really hasn't changed from yesterday. So this is very interesting with Isaiah Jackson being $3,000 today. Assuming he ends up starting again, he's going to be a great play. Buddy Hield is also a great play at his price point. And then Mathurin and Nembhard and McConnell are all viable on the slate. I hate to call all of these guys core plays, but at least outside of those, at least Hield, Jackson, and McConnell are all must plays, especially if Turner ends up being ruled out, which it looks like he will be. It's just kind of a formality at this point. Man, goodness, that is crazy that their prices didn't really change from yesterday hardly, and Jackson's still minimum price. So I just wanted to point that out. So let's go ahead and get started in the slate itself. We're going to start with TJ McConnell. Now, McConnell is interesting. He played extremely well yesterday, coming off the bench, in fact. In the last 2 games, he's played really good with Halliburton out, and his price point it actually went down $100 from yesterday. I expected him to play really well in this game and have another game similar to that where he gets over 25, 30 fantasy points. So, hey, I think he's a core play today. Then we're going to look at Andrew Nembhard. Now, he has also played really well with Halliburton out. And yesterday he didn't disappoint. He didn't really blow us out of the water yesterday because he only had 25 fantasy points. But he still got over the hump that we needed. And he is a viable play on the slate. He's not a must play, but he is a viable play on the slate. Buddy Hield has played extremely well this season with Halliburton out. I look for that to continue today. He should get close to 35, 40 fantasy points again. He did good. He did really good yesterday with 39 fantasy points. Obviously, it's a little bit tougher matchup against Memphis, but overall, he's still viable on this one and a top play. Marcus Smart also looks really interesting today. He's been really good with Brown out, and it looks like that he's going to get even more responsibility if Brogdon ends up being out as well, and so he'll have even more upside result. Now his price point has topped out here at nearly 6,000, but he is really good and he has viability on the slate. Then Mathurin for Indiana as well. He's an interesting spot today with the situation there with Halliburton out as well, and he played really well yesterday in playing 39 minutes. I'm not sure that he'll get 39 minutes today. But he should get over 35, and his price point basically stayed the same, and he's definitely viable on this one. Then we'll look at Derek White for Boston. He should play a full complement of minutes with Brown out and with Brogdon likely not playing today. Obviously, we gotta want to make sure that Brogdon doesn't play today, but he's played really well with Brown out last game, and I expect him to continue that. He has a good matchup here against Charlotte as well. Then we'll look in the forwards and Isaiah Jackson, who is a must-play if he starts. He had 7 blocks yesterday, which are literally enough points to basically 5x on its own without the points and the rebounds, and he got a double-double yesterday in 28 minutes. I look for him to have similar potential in this game. though it is a tougher matchup against Memphis and Steven Adams. He should still be viable on the slate. Jalen Smith here for Indiana, also kind of interesting. Now, his minutes are not really projected to be all that great, but he did have a really good game yesterday despite that. He's had 2 games over 20 minutes with, and now that Miles Turner's out, make sure Miles Turner plays before you consider him, though. Then we'll look at Al Horford, who's also interesting today. He's played really well the last few games, in 3 of the last 4. He does sit out games occasionally, but he should be good to go today, and he should get over 30 minutes, and a nice plus matchup against Charlotte. He should be able to do 5x here without too much issue. Then we'll look at Walker Kessler for Utah. He has very interesting upside here, assuming he starts. He's in a similar position that he's just way too cheap for his potential, and if he ends up starting, then he has viability here. Then we're going to look at Okongwu, who had an extremely good game yesterday. His price is still pretty good. He has some upside at this price, and so he is viable on the slate. And then finally, Mason Plumlee at $6,200 for Charlotte. He has played really well lately, and he looks to continue that here in a nice plus match against against Boston. And with the injuries to Boston, he should have some more upside. But he's played really good against tough teams even. He's had 2 really good games against Toronto, good game against Milwaukee, etc. He should be continuing. His price is still really good here on DraftKings. So that's what I have for this slate. We're also, for expensive guys with all the value, I'm also going to say to take a look at Luka and Joel Embiid and James Harden. I think those are probably and also LaMelo Ball. Those are probably the top 4 like expensive plays. There's not an over-the-top top expensive play today. But overall, we have some good plays on the board. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing, and have a nice day, guys.